Thank you. I will try to make it as short as possible. I'm hungry as well. So let's do it. What I'm going to talk with you about today. For the last 2.5 years, I have been working on a project, sorry. And basically, we trust on Datadog to be, or Datadog, sorry, on Terraform to be our product at the end. Whoever thought about this, that a module on Terraform can just be your own product? No one. 2, 3, 4, come on, just one more. 5, that's it. Okay, so if you are delivering modules, especially internally to our teams, you can look into them as products, and they have their own challenges. And to be honest with you, this talk is only, I will just talk bad things about that, okay? So I will talk against my own work. But yeah, those are the lessons. Who am I? My name is Luís Serra. I'm a senior DevOps engineer at Sinvert. I'm based in Leiria. Very easy to explain now that I'm in Portugal. Usually is very hard to do it. So let's do it. I want to keep it short. The agenda for this meeting. So I'm gonna do a little introduction or brief introduction about the product. So what is it? And then I'm going to cover these 5 challenges. So the knowledge gap, the growing complexity, the challenging testing, optimization focus, sorry, and how we sell a solution, or how difficult is then to sell a solution. Disclaimer, there is no AI, sorry. But of course, the title and the abstract was generated by AI. So it already fooled you. So what is a product? Okay. I've been working for a big car manufacturer. Okay. And we have a lot of teams, and each one of those teams has the very different requirements in terms of CI/CD setups. Okay. I'm talking about teams that are working or developing the infotainment of the car. Okay. Infotainment on autonomous driving, climate control, ignition, battery management system. And yeah, you can imagine all the pieces of software that you have in a car. And each one of them has its own requirements, specific tools to work with this hardware, that controller, okay? And we understood from the beginning that having just one team dealing with these CI/CD setups wasn't the best option. So when I say CI/CD setups, basically is GitLab runners, okay, in this case. And it was very clear for us that if we want to empower the teams to be able to set up their own runners quickly and uniformly across all teams, but at the same time having the opportunity to manage or to customize as they want, we created this product, okay, that it's an internal product but used by a lot of teams. I will give you some numbers. So it's a cloud-based solution, so we trust on the AWS to provide us CI/CD setups at scale. Abstracts infrastructure, you may ask, but yeah, Terraform is infrastructure as code. Yes, but abstracts the majority of the infrastructure, okay? So they don't know where the runner is, they don't know which account they are using, they don't need to deal with VPC, subnets, connections, EC, Elastic Container Services, and all the other stuff. It's flexible. They are able to configure it as they wish, based on their demands. And of course, it's configurable on their side. That is the most important thing. So at the end, this is what we are delivering. Just, let me code this, just a module, okay? I think it's visible for everyone, yes, even in the back. So basically is a module where they just define some tags, okay, the name of the runner, where they want to register to a group or to a project. So in GitHub is like organization/repository, which executor type, Linux or Windows, which machines they want to use, and some other configurations are like how many jobs run per instance. And we are talking about, so just another disclaimer, we are talking about containerized and non-containerized workloads, okay? So it's not always containers here. Sometimes it's like heavy machines, okay? And they can control all these configurations on this module. And for them, it's okay. It works, okay? So every time that they need a new runner with different configuration, like a more powerful machine, Windows-based one, they just copy-paste this, adapt what they need, and it's applied. And it's been quite heavily used. So we have now onboarded, we already onboarded around 55 teams. Okay, they are spread across 50 different accounts. We have 1.5 million jobs on average being executed on our runners every single month. And we are talking about 1 million euros on cloud costs per month. Okay, if they request all the demand that they have configured at the moment. We are talking about, I'm saying about because, yeah, when I took this screenshot, this was the numbers, but meanwhile, new teams were onboarded, new runners were created, but we are talking about a huge number of CPUs and memory. So what is the problems now? So if the teams are using and if they are happy, what is the problem? The first one that we already did. So this product is already 2.5 years old, okay, almost 3. And in the beginning, when we started to onboard some of the teams, we were able to control what was the knowledge on the team side. So they were at least aware how Terraform works, how infrastructure as code works. But it's not that true any longer. The teams evolve, the teams change, and their setup are always changing, okay? And you don't have, we are not able to control the skill set of everyone on their teams. And we face this issue at the moment. On the one side, we have who built the platform of the product. So me and my colleagues from the runners team, as we call them, we have the skills aligned. We know how AWS works, Terraform works, Packer works, at least the bare minimum, of course. We have the creator's mind. We have the full context of all the inputs, how the logic works, if they select NVMe instance, what should do. But then we have the other side, those who actually use it. The people that just go there, copy paste the module, and they want to have runners. That's it, okay? And there is a gap, a clear gap on this set of skills, okay? And if on our side the skills are quite strong, or at least strong enough to work with it, as soon as we go into the team's directions, yeah, that knowledge just vanished, okay? And at the end, this is what we have. So just a summary. So on our side, we try to do as modular as possible. We try to support multi-cloud. We think that they will read the documentation, but no. What happens is like they are asking this: why are there 5 variables just to get 1 VM? Or I just want to deploy 1 region, or docs. Yeah, of course. I will just copy paste the module that is being used and works, and that's it. The second issue, growing complexity, making one module abstract and configurable as possible. It's very cool. I agree with you, but it grows the complexity in terms of logic when you are trying to accommodate different use cases, especially in terms of infrastructure. The complexity of it grows. So when we are working on the product, okay, on the Fleeting Runners product is the name of it, we want to add as much features as possible, right? Because we know that there is different demands on all different teams. And we think that along the way, they will use it properly, right? They will update their runners, they will start to use new features, new inputs, new optimizations. But at the end, what we have is a reality check that they will not do it. They have a very configuration that they did 1 year ago that works, and they will replicate it over and over and over again, just checking and just changing like tags and the type of instance, and that's it. And I know that over the time you can increase the amount of features, okay? The complexity can decrease some part of the times because you evaluate this feature is not needed, so I can remove it, or there is another way to do it, and perhaps I can refactor that part of the module, and the complexity should increase, but along the time, so over the time, sorry, it will always follow this curve. So many features means more complexity. And then this is what we have. We once added a variable to support a very specific edge case for one team than another, and before long, our module had 60 inputs. This is what has happening so far. And then what they will do, the new users, is just copy the example and hope it works. Another problem when we are using infrastructure as code as a product, testing it is quite hard. You might say, but you have so many tools. You can link to your module. You can run unit tests. Yes, we can. But it's challenging because if you are increasing the amount of inputs of a module, you are also increasing the different use cases or different scenarios. Okay, so you need to test, you want to test, or you will need to test all those different inputs. If max of instance is 1, but then I can set like instance of 10. So all these different inputs and all the different behaviors based on the input value lead into different scenarios, and we need to test them. It's expensive, so we are talking about infrastructure on the cloud, and it can be quite expensive. So when I say expensive is, for example, on our module, currently we have different operating systems. So we have Linux, we support Linux and we support Windows, both of them with 2 versions. If the user select instance with the NVMe attached to it, there is a different logic for it. So we mount that disk and we ensure that the GitLab runner uses it for performance purpose. So all these tests must be covered. And at the end, we are just deploying infrastructure on a cloud provider, running our tests, and of course, then deleting everything. But at the end, it's expensive because the amount of scenarios, the test suite is also growing. Life is different from test. So usually our test environments are ephemeral environments, right? We don't have anything, we spin up everything, we run our tests, and then we destroy, and the tests just pass. But what we have on the client side is not that. What we have on the client side is a living infrastructure that will just perform a rollout on top of it, right? If there is a new version of our module, and we already got that there are some issues here and there that we are not able to catch we are only able to catch, if we do this, like we deploy an entire infrastructure using our latest module version, and then we just roll out for the new version, because there are some issues like duplicated names that you might not get when we are just deploying everything from scratch. And hidden problems. This comes from when we open our configuration as much as possible. I will give one example here. I think it's the best way to describe it. Like I said, if our users select an instance with an NVMe disk attached to it, we ensure that disk is mounted and is used, okay? But there was a client that he wanted to, they were selecting an instance with 4 NVMe disks, and they were formatting all of them, something like that, and then mounting all of them as one disk using write 0, okay? And we didn't know that, okay? And we didn't know that. So when an instance was being provisioned, we have on our user script date, we are waiting for some service to become live, and they weren't. We were like, what the hell is going on? Why these L checks are not working? Because the client, under the hood, they created an AMI with a Linux service to basically just stop disk management, they stopped the Docker engine also, and they were doing their crazy stuff there. And our script was like, okay, why is Docker not running? What the hell is going on? So there is hidden problems that you will never be able to reproduce all of them, because there is some open configurations on the user side that we will not be able to reproduce or accommodate on our test suite. And now of this optimization focus, and I think this is the most SRE part of this talk. Who already heard, listen, something like this? 1 terabyte, 1 terabyte. You can decrease it, right? You can say, you can be more polite, and you can say 200 gigabytes of memory. Should be enough, right? Who already did that? Come on, no one said that. Come on. You don't over provision. Of course that you will over provision, because you don't want a call from PagerDuty at the middle of the night. You don't want. And when you let your users, or when you provide the capability of your users to accommodate infrastructure or to deploy infrastructure, they will over provision for sure. Okay. So we cannot deliver them observability on a common way. Okay. Because just delivering them metrics, logs, and costs, they will never look into it. Okay. They will over provision just for security purpose. They don't want to be messed. They will look into these graphs and say, yeah, it's fine. It's green, slow. I don't want, for me, it's okay if my teams commit something, if the pipelines run, that's great for me. But SRE is not just sorry, my English no good. Reliability, what I said. It's not good to know. It's also to make sure that our systems are working, but with a fair price. Just at the talk about FinOps. So what we need to do, and in this case, we are trusting on Datadog. It's not on spot yet, but we are getting there. So we are aggregating logs, metrics, and costs, right? And we are working our observability tool in a way to deliver not metrics and data to our users, but opportunities, okay? What they want to see is not a graph like how much CPU consumption or memory consumption is that particular machine having, but what they want is this proper actions on their runners. Like this runner that you select, the runner 3, improve the selected instance type because you select an instance with 200 gigabytes of memory, and like during the last 1 month, all the pipelines that run on it spend like 10%. So why are you using such a powerful machine? You know why? Because they just copy a module, they reproduce, they update the tags, that's it. They didn't even take care of the instance that was selected there. So they want opportunities, not CPU usage and that data. Another future. So you may ask, okay, so if you have so many problems, what will be the future? So it's a product with just problems? No. So nowadays we are infrastructure as code-based solution, right? So we expose Terraform to them. Is when we onboard a team, this is what they get. It's a repository with some Terraform that they can apply, and we need to abstract it as soon as possible. And we need to go into a product-based solution. How? It's not defined yet. It could be like with a platform, a developer platform, a configuration file, an UI, whatever. Okay. What we need to do is the same way that nowadays Terraform is abstracting AWS. Okay, the majority of AWS effort or infrastructure management, ECS, VPCs, and auto-scaling groups, auto-templates, all of that, we need to take a step further and abstract the Terraform part also. And now this is the current problem that we have. We are talking about a big corporation, okay, a big enterprise, and in big enterprises you need to sell this, okay. So good ideas are not just good. You need to convince the people that decides that they are good, and they will work. And if they work, they will be promoted. This is the life, right? We can build the dream or sell the dream for this platform. So we can spend weeks abstracting Terraform, creating a very nice platform where they don't see nothing. But yeah, try to freaking push this into a massive enterprise. It's not just technical benefits that you need to talk about, it's also how you help people to grow on their career. And then when you convince them, you will we'll start the relay race. So I don't know if this is the right translation. Once you convince them, you will need to start knocking at some doors. Architectural review with system architects. Then security wants a meeting to see if it's secure and what now is being exposed. Now finance will ask you like, oh, okay, why it costs 3 cents an hour? And then someone comes to you and say, yeah, but there was already a tool that I used in the company 10 years ago. And then it's a pitch here, there, politics, a lot of politics, okay? And at some point, you spend more time selling the actual idea that they're just implementing and abstracting and fixing the problem to your clients. And then at the end, I know that now I'm getting off the track of SRE and I'm already getting it to management and yeah, whatever. You can make the coolest thing in the world, okay? But if no one's approved it, it's just an idea stuck in a pull request or a merge request. I want to include everyone from GitHub to GitLab. And then you will realize that just building a platform or a product is 50% code and 50% of what? AI? No. Diplomacy or bureaucracy, okay? Especially in big corporations. And now you may ask, yeah, but man, why are you talking about this management shit? Does it make any sense? Yeah, it does, because it also affects the gap that I talked in the beginning. It also affects the gap between the creators and the users. We are not just fighting complexity in the code base, we are fighting complexity in organization as well. Okay. So as a summary, I'm about to finish. This is just a summary about what I've been talking about. Validate, use infrastructure as code to your idea. This works. It was very quick to iterate our product using infrastructure as code. We didn't start like creating a platform with a backend and no. Infrastructure as code. Just Terraform, it worked. Clients are using. There are a lot of jobs being executed there. Guide end users. Create boilerplates upfront. Create templates. You already know that not all of them will have the same knowledge as you think. So we can guide them as much as possible. Once you approve your idea, and once you say that, okay, this is a valuable thing for my enterprise or for my company, abstract it as soon as possible. And this is where we are at the moment. Okay. So thinking how we will abstract Terraform or infrastructure as code in this case. Sell it, yeah, prepare yourself. We are talking about not just a big company, it's harder on a big company, but even in a smaller company, you'll just say to your boss, yeah, this is what you want. You don't know, but trust me, this is what you want. And then enjoy the ride. Basically, share your thoughts, share your learnings. This is basically what I'm doing here in front of you today. Okay. As every single good presentation, it ends with a QR code, of course. Okay. What is there? I don't know. Probably Sinvert, my social media. I don't have Tinder because if I had, it was there. But yeah, feel free to ask me anything. Do we have to
Yes, we can ask one question.
One question.
Yes, I was expecting that QR code like to be Rickroll or something for everyone. Okay, this was the first person. So you get the question.
It's me again. So my question is quite simple. So you have around 60 inputs, right?
We have more. That's just
Well,
an example. Yeah,
we have example. Yeah. So the suggestion in the kind of a question, why not using AI
that's a good
to automate the right questions to generate inputs to your customers?
Yeah,
because okay, I understand it's too many inputs. The customers don't know how things work. They don't know what they need and that kind of stuff. But if you generate the script, do the right question for the customers, collect the metrics you have about the customers, and automate that configuration for the customer. So you mix the best of the world.
Yeah. So for sure, the solution that will be developed, it must have AI in front of it, for sure. That's already our conversation with the stakeholders, or who decide this, not stakeholders, but who decides this. So we have a very good communication, right? What is the purpose of an input? Most probably, and I'm saying most probably because, yeah, this is a team decision. We are still deciding what will be done. AI will be there in front of it, just digesting all the documentation that we have, and on a very human way, I need a runner for this to do this and that, and automatically generating the configuration for them. Yeah. But we also want to go in even further. We don't want to generate just the configuration that they can just copy paste. That might be the first step. Okay. We want to take a step further. I want a runner with these characteristics. It will apply, and they don't even need to see Terraform at the end, basically.